Hello, howdy, sup, alright mate, aloha, g'day! This is Travel Tuesdays for foodie fans. Bryce Morrison is your host and I'm Carla, your colorful commentator. However you greet your friends, we're excited you're here for the journey as we take you across these United States and around the world to find the very best in food and wine. Join us every Tuesday as we interview foodie travelers, award-winning bartenders, restaurateurs, and more to find out their go-to bars and restaurants and how to find them. Enjoy the show!
Hello, foodie fans. Welcome back to another episode of Travel Tuesdays for foodie fans. I'm Bryce, and my wife Carla is here, and tiny dog Sam may make an appearance as well. But the real star of this show is Thommy with an H. Thommy is here to share his stories of travel and food and where he finds the very best, I believe it's an apple martini, in the world. So without further ado, let's bring Thommy on.
There we go. Hey, hey.
There he is. How's it going, bud?
Good. Very good. Fantastic. Busy day. Ready for one of those appletinis you mentioned, actually.
Well, maybe you can get somebody making one in the background for you.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Marquito.
I have my old fashioned.
I should have prepared a drink. My gosh.
Not the Wisconsin version, though.
Not the Wisconsin.
Real old fashioned.
All right, keep her moving. All good stuff.
So, can you see the bicycle in the background?
I can, yeah.
Do you know what that is?
Well, I see lime in between our two pictures.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that's like an electric powered bicycle that you can rent or something of that nature.
The background behind the bike is a little different. That would not be something you would see here in Orlando, right?
Yeah.
That's actually Sydney, Australia.
Oh, how about that?
Aha, I was thinking about you. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But the background behind me is actually one of the islands in the Caribbean when we were on a cruise. So I like to use personal stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I was trying to start a watch party. It's not working. Shocker, shocker. So
that's okay. Stuff happens. I'm sure lots of your friends will watch it anyway because you're an entertaining guy. You're fun to watch.
I try.
So I gave a little jab at Wisconsin earlier. Where are you from?
Southwest Wisconsin, so La Crosse.
Okay.
Otherwise referred to as the tri-state area or the Seven Rivers region. So it's kind of like you're not far from, well, literally right on the border of okay, I think I lost Bryce.
No, you didn't. I'm still here.
You're still there. Okay. Oh, I see how it works. All right, that's cool. Yeah, so it's right on the border and like 20 minutes north of Iowa. On the river, didn't grow up in the river, discovered the river a few years ago, and all the fun that comes in the summers on the river in Wisconsin, in the Mississippi.
Our last guest was from La Crosse as well.
Yeah.
And, he was trying to get down here to Florida. How in the world did you end up here?
So I did the, originally I did the Disney College program, and that was what originally brought me here, like so many. And then I went home, finished my degree, came back down again on the Disney College program, started my professional career, moved back home again for a little bit to help my parents out, and then moved back permanently in 2016, or at least what I hope is permanently. So as is the case with many, it all started with Disney, and everything kind of just went from there.
So how about food? What's in La Crosse? What do you remember? What do you crave? If you were to go back, where would you go?
Oh, it's definitely, well, a couple places. One is Rudy's Drive-In is definitely a classic up there, and it's seasonal. So by the time spring comes, you're like, yeah, it's open it up. That's the time. And I think from a food perspective, it's always the brats. Like it's Oktoberfest brats. Like mouth is watering just thinking about it. So yeah, definitely the brats, and there's some good restaurants. They have a tapas place, Four Sisters, I think it's called, and I hope I got that right. It's been a while since I've been home. So those are kind of the go-to spots or go-to food, I guess, when I go home. It used to be Culver's, which I know is not the most.
I know, yeah.
But now we have it here, so which is great. But it kind of took it away from the whole. I'm going to go home. I'll tell you the one thing
anymore.
Yeah, the one thing that's truly uniquely Wisconsin that you absolutely can't get, even in Minnesota, is a beer called Spotted Cow. And
Spotted Cow
absolutely loves Spotted Cow. So we actually had someone. We were driving down here on our when we were moving, and we were almost out of Wisconsin. Oh my God, we forgot to get Spotted Cow, so we had to stop and get Spotted Cow just literally because you cannot get it outside of the state of Wisconsin. So it's definitely a thing. And two interesting facts about La Crosse that weren't covered last week. One of them is it has a world record for most consecutive bars or most bars on one street, and the world's largest six-pack, which is the brewery. Big, huge, massive containers that hold all the beer. So two other defining points of La Crosse, Wisconsin.
Are you kidding me? It has the most bars in a row.
Yeah. It's either in a row or it's like on the same street. Kind of thing. So it may not be a record that still exists today because some have closed, but at one point it had the most, because our downtown area, which is like right by the river, not so great for people falling in drunk, but that's another story. That used to be the case. I don't know now if that record still holds, but that's what it was originally.
So typically,
Thommy, I'm going to have you help write the fun foodie facts from now on.
Yes. Okay.
So typically when you have that many bars, that kind of indicates college town.
Yeah, yes. 3 colleges, actually.
Okay.
They have University of Wisconsin La Crosse, Viterbo University, which is a private university, and then Western Technical College is the tech school. So
Got it.
3 colleges. Yep, that definitely drives it.
So now you mentioned bratwursts earlier, which are near and dear to my heart.
Yeah.
Having come from Wisconsin, did you travel within Wisconsin at all, or did you just stick over there in La Crosse?
Yeah, I've the major cities. Definitely Madison. I went to school at UW Whitewater, which is only it's not far. It's basically in between Madison and Milwaukee. Yep. And very drivable to Chicago, right? Yeah. So it's a great location for being able to venture out a little bit and go do other things. I've been up to Wausau in the Green Bay area also. So yeah, I've been around, maybe not much in Northwest Wisconsin, but definitely East and Northeast Wisconsin I've been around. And then jump in the river, lots of trips up to Minneapolis.
Now that's someplace I've never been, but
really,
when I went to UW Madison, UW Madison, I was studying marketing, and I went there for an AMA conference, American Marketing Association. And while we were there, we went looking for something to drink. And, being broke college kids, we just wanted to buy the liquor and take it with us. So we went to what we thought was a normal liquor store, and we're driving and we go down this side road and we end up in some guy's house. And in his house, he had not only a bar, but an entire liquor store. And it was very, very strange. Oh, and he didn't have a shirt on. So, but hey, the price was right, and I think it was legal. So we had a good time.
I can imagine you would. That sounds about right for Wisconsin, for all that it's known for.
Animals up there. Yeah.
Yes, that's definitely accurate.
Definitely. So
accurate.
Have you been down by Kenosha?
I don't think I've actually been to Kenosha, actually.
Okay. There's a place there called the Brat Stop.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I was asking, because the Brat Stop was phenomenal.
Oh, man.
Great cheeses. There's several cheese places right there. We haven't even started talking about Wisconsin cheese yet.
Yeah.
But,
exactly.
The Brat Stop was really, really good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's no, that's good. There's a lot of good places. You know, Wisconsin in general, the culinary is very home, you know, meat and potatoes heavy kind of style. And
German.
in some ways, but
German stews.
Mhm.
All
Yeah,
kinds of stuff like
exactly. La Crosse has a very large Oktoberfest celebration. It's not as large as it used to be. They kind of played with the format quite a bit. But you know, growing up, it was always all about Oktoberfest, the parade, and the I think it was at one time the third largest Oktoberfest. I think the third largest in the world, but don't quote me on that.
Wow.
But it was definitely top 10. I know that for sure. I used to draw a lot of people to Oktoberfest. So I would march with the Blue Stars Alumni Corps after they formed in 2005 or 6, I think. And, you know, march with them. It was a lot of fun, crazy fun. So that was always a big thing. That was a driver of the Brats and the German heritage and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, lots of fun.
So did you ever go to the 3rd of July in Milwaukee?
No, I don't think so.
Oh,
I was in the area one year for the 4th, but I didn't go to any festivities. No.
Yeah, Milwaukee is one of the best fireworks. Not just fireworks, you know, just the party atmosphere, and
yeah,
it was a lot of fun.
It's crazy because I have family there, and like I never ended up really.
Gotta go.
Like, I did like one round of swinging through there in a summer when I was following the drum corps around to all their shows, and I went to a Real Big Fish concert. And that was about the longest, I guess, extent that I ended up staying in Milwaukee, unfortunately. But yeah, I know a lot of popular things over there to be able to attend. So there you go.
So I know that we've known each other for a while now, and I happen to know that cooking is not your favorite thing.
Yeah, accurate.
But when you first started cooking,
yeah,
what was the hardest thing for you to figure out?
Wow, interesting cooking. Huh? Last week, yeah. You know, I think it's like, well, Marco would have lots to say about this. Let me just say about my cooking experience. I think, well, for one thing, to harken back to the time we had you over for dinner, probably should ask your guests how they like their meat. Don't just assume and cook everything medium well. You know, I take a very scientific approach to cooking. You know, I try to create a consistent, you know, hey, the grill is this temperature, and I like to do a lot of grilling. So I really focus on learning it from that perspective. I'm not one of those guys that can throw things together and then see how it tastes and then adjust it as I go. I'm much more follow the recipe. So, you know, I don't know that there was a whole lot, I guess, to learn other than some of those things about cooking different temperatures and being accurate with it. That's definitely part. We love watching like Hell's Kitchen and Kitchen Nightmares and Bar Rescue and these other places. So I learn a lot actually through watching those shows about different techniques and things. So I just try to learn that. But yeah, I need a recipe. I definitely can't do it, you know, just on my own. I'm a total recipe person, and I will follow it to a T, and then maybe start to branch out a little bit. But that's been the hardest thing. I think it's just some of those basic concepts that I just didn't know. I can still cook a mean grilled cheese though. It's always been my specialty since I was a kid.
You actually, in many ways, have an advantage over me. I can put flavors together. I can play around with flavors and come out with something delicious. But you put a recipe in front of me, and it's not going to turn out exactly what it said.
Yeah.
Never ask Bryce to bake a cake. It will be awful.
Duly noted.
He's like, a cup. That's like this much.
But you know what? I can take a can of pineapple and some cake mix and turn it into something brilliant.
Yeah.
It's not edible.
So we know that that you haven't always been enthusiastic about being in the kitchen. Have you had any failures, big failures? You know, what's been your biggest challenge?
Biggest failures. Well, there was that time I almost set the house on fire when I was a kid, but that was when I was a kid. Put the toaster.
Not everybody has that claim to fame, though.
Yeah, well, that's true. Put the toaster down, and it was underneath the cupboard, and the toaster caught fire because it wasn't cleaned. So the little leftover pieces, something caught on fire, and this was like an old house, right? So it would have gone up in flames like that. And my cousin was home, and she was sick, so she couldn't smell, and I hadn't smelled it yet. My dad walked in; he had just gone to Quick Trip. My dad walked in. What the is going on here? And there's the freaking toaster's on fire. So there was that. But I think in the a story I remember fondly. I think in the current moment, my biggest challenge with cooking, honestly, it's time. It's narrowing down time, and so it's more the prep, right? It's like making the list, knowing what you're going to cook and when, and then making the list and going shopping for the list so that you're only buying what you need to cook for the week, and just making sure that you're not wasting food by not preparing it. We like literally just went through an exercise because I'm always about improving the process. So we just did that literally this week, where I was like, I'm so tired of like food costs being out of control and like wasting food on stuff and then ending up with too much food in the refrigerator. And I'm not the person that wants to cook every night. I want to cook like 1 or 2 times a week and have multiple meals from that, because cooking's not really a priority for me. Like I have to eat. So there's that. But otherwise I'm not gonna, I'm not one of those like, oh yeah, I love spending 3 hours in the kitchen. No, there's so many things I would much rather do than spend 3 hours in the kitchen. I do enjoy grilling for the most part, but it's not something I want to do every single day. And it's kind of what was happening. It's happening every single day. I was having to cook, and I'm like, okay, this isn't working because I need more time for other things. So just getting the prep done has been a learning process. We went through that this week and actually went shopping. I know this is like mind blowing. There's people going, what? You don't do that? But like literally writing out what the meals are, writing out what the ingredients are, checking the fridge. What do we have? What do we not have? How long is it going to last? And then shopping based on that list. And I can confidently say,
we don't do that. That's a foreign concept. We don't do that.
You don't do that either. Okay, well, there you go. So there may be people out there.
So you're a planner.
Yeah, I am very much. Yeah, I am, because look, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So I'm all about having a plan. The plan might change, the plan might be adjusted, but if I feel like there's a plan, like for me, there's security in planning. So I go through every single day looking for my planner, but I have a planner I fill out every single day that helps guide the day. That's
how you ended up in your line of work then.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of comes with the territory. If you're gonna be coaching and training other people to be a high performer and inspire others and all these other things, well, then you better be doing it. Otherwise, you're out of integrity. So yeah, that definitely came part of it, because if people want to grow their business, for example, and they're struggling to do it, almost always the first thing they say is, I don't have time. It's always a time issue. So you have to look at the areas in their life where they can be more efficient with the time, and then plan it accordingly. So meal planning, I have no problem cooking on the weekend. Sunday, I'll cook. Wednesday, I have a late night meeting, so I'll cook. And then the other days, I don't have to cook. Great, I can do something else.
So do you use that same? I know you like to go out to eat, and especially since you don't like to cook, do you use that same thought process when you look for places to eat?
No.
No?
No. Actually, ironically, that's kind of the reason for the planning, is because we would end up with like too much food and end up wasting it or getting sick of it, right? But then on the flip side, because we didn't plan and the schedule is very full, we'd end up eating out more often than we wanted to. So I'm definitely of the mindset, I would rather eat out one time a month and have it be like a killer $300 meal than eat out multiple times throwing out $20 every time you go to Tijuana Flats or something like that. And I would rather that one time be with friends, right? And I'd rather take a really fun night one time and have a really good experience than pour out the money repeatedly because we just failed to plan, and then it sucks up all the budget for entertainment. So so that's definitely where it stemmed from that perspective.
You mentioned a $300 meal. Tell me about that.
Well, that's easy. Go to Disney. You can, like, all it takes is like 2 entrees and a dessert and a bottle of wine. Boom, you're there. Tax and tip, you're there, right? So yeah, just go to Disney and that'll happen pretty quick. So yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, we went out on our anniversary. We ended up going 2 places and definitely hit close to that figure between the 2 of us eating 2 times in one day. So we splurged a little bit. It was anniversary and the first time eating out in like 2 months, right? Because of COVID. So it's definitely good.
So is there a destination that was kind of a bomb, a failure? Someplace you thought was going to be an amazing meal and it just didn't live up to expectations, whether Disney or otherwise?
Oh, it hurts to say this. No, I'm not going to lie. Victoria and Albert's at Disney's Grand Floridian Resort and Spa. Initially, when
I had to put my face back on the screen because wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I have not had the privilege of going there, but everybody's told me I have to. And now you're saying,
well,
not worth it.
Yeah, the reason for that is, that is clearly a signature dining experience. I mean, it's about as high up as you can get at Disney. I have been there, I think, about 3 or 4 times in total in my life. And initially, it was, it's pricey, but you get a lot and the variety was good. And that seemed to have changed. Now, the last time I was there we were living here. It was within the last 4 years, probably 2017, maybe 18, when Marco's parents came to visit. And we just found that the selection was not as good. They added a lot more upcharges, like surprise Disney, right? It used to be, as far as I remember, that there's a steak on the menu, at least a basic steak on the menu. That wasn't the case, if I remember correctly, when we went the last time. The only option was to upgrade to like the Kobe beef, which was like at least $75 more on top of the base price they're paying. It adds up quite a bit. And it wasn't just me. Honestly, the whole family, I think we had 7 people or so in the party. The family decided they didn't want to go back. So that was the last time. It may have changed since then, but it just seemed like for what was originally billed as a signature experience, and you didn't really have a lot of the upcharge because it's a signature experience, has turned into more of a, well, we're Disney, so we're going to give you this great experience, but we're also going to give you even more upcharge and then take away what was the base. That's what I didn't like about it. So I guess it wasn't necessarily the food that I didn't like, but the selection of food available at that base, one price to get multiple course concept that they have seems to have changed. And I don't know if that's just my perception, but that when you say, hey, what did not live up to your expectations, especially for the cost, that was definitely it.
So is there another location, similar price point that you've been to that you would not hesitate to go back to, whether Disney or otherwise? Yeah,
probably. Honestly, a lot of our eating out is at Disney, so it's going to go that direction, right? Honestly, what comes to mind, it's definitely not as expensive, but Todd English's Blue Zoo, we also went there, which is at the Swan and Dolphin. That was really good. That place actually is what gave me the taste for shrimp. I didn't really like shrimp before that, and it was so good with the sauces. I was hooked, and I'm now a shrimp fan. So,
what kind? Grilled or fried or?
No, fresh.
Fried?
Yeah.
Fresh broiled?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it was like an appetizer of all things, and each, like, it came out with like maybe 5 or 6 pieces and then a different sauce for like each piece, and it was so good. So that definitely got me on the radar. And then I think, but that was really just the appetizer, I guess. So yeah, I would definitely go back. If I could pick somewhere, you want me to go global though?
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Let's go there.
Now I'm going to take it over to, now we're going to go over to where that bike is, right? Unfortunately, I don't even know the name of the place.
But come on.
I know, right? I have to look at Google Maps to see if I can figure it out just based on looking at where things were. But there was a place on a pier in Sydney. It's an Italian place. And what I remember is like it's on the pier, and I remember being like a little bit down from somewhere where there was a soccer match happening and they had a big TV outside. So people were hooting and hollering around that. But that was the best pizza I've ever had. The best pizza in Sydney, Australia. Now, I've not been to Italy, so there's that. But I like absolutely loved it in a heartbeat. If I went back, I would be there like lickety split.
You know, it's funny. You said you haven't been to Italy for pizza, and the best pizza I've ever had has actually been in France.
Oh, there you go. Interesting.
And I've been to many places in Italy, and I've been to many places in France, but the best pizza I've ever had was in France.
Yeah. It's interesting how that works, right? It's not like quintessential where you think it would be. That you end up finding these hidden gems. So that was definitely like, if I had that opportunity, in a heartbeat.
The only pier that I can think of that had places like that to eat is over by the Opera House. So it was over by the Opera House?
You could see the Opera House, but it wasn't like walkable to the Opera House.
Oh.
So there's another it's over by if I remember correctly, there was a zoo where you can pet a koala.
See, we didn't make it over to that side. That's on the other side of the Opera House. We didn't make it over there.
Yeah. That's where our office was. So that was where we were closest to, like, we were walking distance to all of that. And you had to take a boat to get down to where the Opera House was.
Got it.
Which I have a selfie of somewhere in my archives of me being on that boat. But yeah, so that was the place that I would go back in a heartbeat. I was trying to think. I mean, there's so many places there's a lot of places I love going out to eat, but
you'll have to when all of this uploads onto Spotify and YouTube, you'll have to comment with the name of the place. You'll have to find it out and comment for us.
Yeah, definitely.
I guarantee there are going to be people going, all right, I really want to go to this Italian restaurant in Sydney, Australia. You got to let us know. Yeah, okay. I will do that. We'll find it. So if you had an extra $1,000 a month in your budget, what would you do with it? All right, foodie fans, thanks for tuning in. Check us out next Tuesday for part 2 of this fantastic Foodies interview.
Bryce, you jerk. We want to know the answer.
Well, great. Hit subscribe.
Fine, but you're sleeping on the couch.